Your subconscious beliefs are one of the main reasons that you're not where you want to be in your life. By the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why this is the case, but even better, I'm going to give you 5 practical techniques that you can use to rewire your deep beliefs to get them in line with what you truly want in life. There was this scientific experiment, and what they did is they got a group of kids and they gave them some easy puzzles to try and solve.
So you see these blocks? Can you tell me what color is on that side?
Red, yellow, white, blue.
Alright, so what I want you to do is put these blocks together so that the picture on top matches the picture here.
After the kids had solved these easy puzzles, they split them up into 2 groups. And the first group, they told them, good job in completing that study. You must be really smart.
Wow, you did really well. You must be really smart at these.
And the second group, they said, good job on completing that puzzle. You must have worked really hard.
Wow, you did really well. You must have tried really hard at these.
And after they did this, after they split these up into the 2 different groups and told the 2 different groups 2 different things, they had the same group of kids do an even harder puzzle, a puzzle that was too hard for most of the kids. And what they found was absolutely incredible. The results of the 2 different groups were amazing. The group that had been told that they were smart and good job for being smart, they gave up so quickly. As soon as something that challenged their idea of them thinking that they were smart, they failed and they gave up. And most of them didn't complete the challenge.
So you seem to have more trouble with this one, and I want to know why you think that was.
Probably because I'm not good at these problems.
But the group of kids that were congratulated on working hard towards the first puzzle, they kept working at the second puzzle. Even though they didn't understand it straight away, they kept going and they kept going and they kept going. And eventually, most of them completed the hard puzzle. And what's more fascinating than this is after the test had happened, 40% of the kids who were told that they were smart ended up lying about the results of the second harder test. They lied and said they had completed it, even though most of them hadn't. Carol Dweck discovered that there are 2 different personality types. On one end of the scale, there's the fixed mindset, and on the other end of the scale is the growth mindset. And what she found that if you think that your qualities are limited and they can't be improved, you have to constantly prove yourself over and over again, and you struggle to learn from your mistakes. This is the fixed mindset. In her book, Mindset, this is what she has to say. If you only have a certain amount of intelligence, a certain personality, and a certain moral character, well, then you'd better prove that you have a healthy dose of them. It simply wouldn't do to look or feel deficient in these most basic characteristics. I've seen so many people with this one consuming goal of proving themselves in the classroom, in their careers, and in their relationships. Every situation calls for a confirmation of their intelligence, personality, or character. Every situation is evaluated. Will I succeed or fail? Will I look smart or dumb? Will I be accepted or rejected? Will I feel like a winner or a loser? And if you see these things in your life, then it's probably not your fault. And this is for 2 different reasons. First of all, the society that you live in values intelligence, which is automatically making you value natural intelligence instead of you putting the work into things. And secondly, if you were growing up and you were told that you were special and you were smart, then this is just like the experiment that we talked about earlier, but I'll get onto that later. In Mindset by Carol Dweck, she also says this, but there's another mindset in which these traits are not simply a hand that you're dealt with and have to live with, always trying to convince yourself and others that you have a royal flush when you're secretly worried it's a pair of 10s. In this mindset, the hand that you're dealt with is just the starting point for development. This growth mindset is based on the belief that your basic qualities are things that you can cultivate through your efforts. You see, by congratulating the group of kids by saying that they're smart and that they're naturally intelligent, this group of kids started to appreciate and value natural intelligence. So when their intelligence was put at jeopardy through the harder challenge, they failed their mission because they thought that they weren't good enough. But the group of kids that were praised for working hard, they developed the growth mindset. They understood that the intelligence that they had was only set and that they only had potential from that, and they could grow and and hone their skills to beat the more important and the more difficult challenges by working hard. And this is the growth mindset. And this is what you need to try and implement into your life, because this, what Carol Dweck found, was the most defining factor between failure and success. You need the growth mindset. But as interesting as this is, it would be so much less valuable if this was just a fact. But the point is, you can manipulate your brain to have a growth mindset. No matter where you are in your life, you can always have a little bit more of a growth mindset. You see, you can change how you believe and act towards your goals. You must do and believe that which will get you closer towards your goals. So part of that is believing and having the growth mindset, which is exactly what I'm going to dive deep into now with 5 different methods on getting the growth mindset. The most important belief that you need to adopt is that you can accumulate, you can acquire any skill that you want, and you can get to whatever the peak of human potential is. You see that you can do this by deliberate practice. And what is deliberate practice? Well, it involves 2 different elements, and this is how you become great at something. Deliberate practice involves 2 different elements. The first of all is that when you're practicing, you must constantly pushing your boundary, constantly trying to improve. Don't just practice for the sake of it, constantly push your comfort zone and get better a little bit of time. And the second thing is having immediate and responsive feedback. You see, the great people always had coaches telling them what they were good at and what they were bad at. So you need to have that for your skill. Find a way that you can get immediate feedback for whatever your skill is, and that is how you become great. And you also need to believe that you can acquire any skill that you want, and this is the truth, because the way you do this is by listening and focusing on all of the evidence that proves that you can get any skill that you want, and ignoring the evidence that proves that you can't get any skill that you want. For example, a piece of evidence that proves that you can get skills, that whatever skill you want, more so than you believe at the moment, is the amount of progress you can make in a short period of time when it comes to art or something similar. This is a drawing that someone did before they had any art practice, and this was the change that they did after only 7 days of practicing art. Art is not a talent. So many of the things that you think are just natural talent are actually just practice. Stuff like singing, it's because they practice that they're that good at it. Recognize this, focus on the evidence that supports the belief that you can do anything, and ignore the evidence that proves that you can't do something. You must become completely aware of your strengths and, more brutally, your weaknesses. So what's the best way to do this? Well, magic mushrooms. That's probably not what you were expecting me to say. And I don't recommend you go out and take magic mushrooms, but it probably is the best way to recognize your strengths and weaknesses. But the other way to do that, the best way to do that, is by asking people closest to you. And obviously this is a difficult question. They don't want to insult you, so you must make a safe environment where you're ready and open to receive whatever they have to say. So sit them down and say, I'm doing this for myself. I want to improve my life by recognizing what I'm good at and what I'm bad at. So can you be brutally honest with me and tell me what I'm good at and what I'm bad at, and I promise I won't be insulted. That's what you've got to do to recognize your strengths and your weaknesses. Because remember, your weaknesses you can work on if you need them to get towards your goals. Your weaknesses are not set and done. You can always improve on your weaknesses.
I love this one. Fail early, fail often, fail forward. It's always a little bit frustrating to me when people have a negative relationship with failure. Failure is a massive part of being able to be successful. You have to get comfortable with failure. You have to actually seek failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are. When you go to the gym and you work out, you're actually seeking failure. You want to take your muscles to the point where you get to failure, because that's where the adaptation is. That's where growth is. Successful people fail a lot. They fail a whole lot more than they succeed, but they extract the lessons from the failure and they use the energy and they use the wisdom to come around to the next phase of success. You gotta take a shot. You have to live at the edge of your capabilities. You gotta live where you're almost certain you're gonna fail. That's the reason for practice. Practice is controlled failure. You're getting to your limit, getting to your limit, getting to your limit. You can't lift that, you can't do that, until you get to the point that all of a sudden your body makes the adjustment and then you can do it. Failure actually helps you to recognize the areas where you need to evolve. So fail early, fail often, fail forward.
Use fear as a compass. What you need to understand is that 9 times out of 10, the fear is pointing you in the direction that you need to take. And that is because you're scared of things that are outside of your comfort zone. But it's the things outside of your comfort zone that are going to make you grow as a person. It's the things outside of the comfort zone that's going to make you a better person with better skills so you can make a better impact on the world and become more fulfilled. Use fear as a compass. Act towards fear. If you're scared of something, do it, because that will make you more comfortable with being uncomfortable, which is again a trait that you need to become successful. Success always lies just outside of your comfort zone. Angela Duckworth talks about this immensely in huge detail in her book Grit. And the way that I inferred that you need to develop grit, which if you don't know what it is, it's basically pushing through the boring times, getting stuff done when other people won't get it done. The way you do this is by a couple reasons, a couple different ways I mean. First of all, when you're bored, when you're doing a task that you need to do to get towards your goals, but it's boring, you must sit back, recognize that it's at this point that most people that are competing with you to get your goals will sit back and they will fail. And that should give you energy, because if you complete the thing that you're bored at doing, the thing that you don't like doing, you're getting ahead of your competition. That should fire you up. And the second way you do that is make it part of your identity. Pride yourself on doing the hard things. Pride yourself on doing the boring things. And the way you do this is that once you've completed a boring task, sit down, congratulate yourself, dwell on the congratulations. Sit back and thank yourself for 2 minutes. Say, good job, you did really well there. You battled through, you did things that other people won't do. This is what you need to do to become successful. And that is how you ingrain it within your identity. And finally, you've got to become a curious learner. You do this by 2 different ways. First of all, it's by recognizing how great the world is, how fascinating the world is, how much knowledge is important, how valuable is information and knowledge, and by recognizing that people are incredible and that you can learn something from absolutely everything. I've seen so many different interviews with celebrities where they've been asked what it was like to meet Elon Musk, and they all said something similar, and it goes like this. When I met Elon, it was incredible. He asked me 10 or so different questions. He somehow tricked me into answering all of his questions, and I didn't even get enough time to ask him one question. And that's because Elon understands the importance of asking other people. Elon Musk, who's so successful, a billionaire, prides himself on being humble enough to learn something from absolutely everyone that he meets, and that's something that you need to recognize. That's the end of the video from me, guys. If you want to become self-disciplined without any motivation, then click the link in the description for a free guide to becoming self-disciplined with you don't need motivation. So click the first link in the description. And if you enjoyed the video, then make sure that you comment, like, and subscribe. But that's it from me. I'll see you tomorrow because I do videos every single day. See ya.